on a documentary uh, about the murder of Shanann Watts.
Hey guys, my name is ShanAnn Waats. I live in Frederick, Colorado. Say hi, Cece. Say hi, Belle. Hi, Belle. No, you gotta say hi. And you can't forget Dieter. You can see it.
So the first thing we see is the Facebook posts. So she used to put a lot of posts. Shanann put a lot of posts of her children. She was constantly on the internet. So this is something important to notice. And for me, it's a sign that she was a little bit isolated. She moved from North Carolina from her parents, who were a very warm family, uh, and her brother, Frank Jr., and she's like all by herself in Colorado with her husband. So even though she speaks really highly of Colorado and the new life, I think when a person posts a lot on Facebook and shares a lot, it seems to me it was more for business because she was promoting products online, but it was more also because I don't think she wanted perhaps to be in touch with her family, or maybe she felt the need to share. It seems to me a sign of isolation for me anyway. And like this is him
Okay,
with the
guys, what I'm gonna
kids.
do to keep going on. When Chris and I got married, we moved out here after visiting, fell in love with the area. It's gorgeous in Colorado. We created a life for ourselves out here. Chris found an amazing job that takes care of him. They respect him, which is huge for any job that you have. And we love it here.
She says
I make it
there
sound
is
Italian.
she says she respects him. I thought it was odd the choice of words, they respect him, as if, like why wouldn't they respect him? So kind of a hint that he may not be an easy person, like to find, like, or maybe I don't know. But she's speaking and he doesn't talk. But you could see a very engaged father, a father who does a lot with his kids. And it really is for me like a red light that don't always believe what you see.
Cookies today. Gotta be careful because Cece's allergic to everything that we love, like pistachio cookies and walnut cookies. But this guy right here, he's gonna do all the dishes.
So that's also, people commented on that, the fact that she spoke like he's always in the background, and she's like he's gonna do the dishes, he's gonna load the phone, and I think it's a sense of humor, but people took it in the wrong way. I believe some people really distorted it and made her sound like an overbearing woman, a domineering woman. I mean, she cares a lot about her family. So when you care, there's a certain proactive behavior of people who care about their children and their family. But I don't sense that she's bullying him, for sure not. She seems like a very sweet person. And I really don't think there's anything that indicates otherwise. But after everything happened, people that have never met her, don't know him or her, made speculations, and I think that is the ugliest thing you can do. And I think it's no wonder it brought a lot of distress to her parents and her brother, to hear people speak so in such a negative light about a woman they have never met, don't know anything about, who only in all the movies, all the pictures, you see a very caring, loving mother, and I don't see anything that indicates otherwise. And with him, you see a person who's very quiet, and it's easy to suspect a person who never talks, never expresses his emotions. That's very, very clear. She's very extrovert, and he seems very introvert. Isn't it?
I'd rather bake and he can clean. I'll go with see.
But it's a joke because I don't believe that he did the cleaning in the house, for instance. That house is spotless. It's a huge house. Somebody had to do the cleaning. I don't think they had servants. So I think it was a joke.
We'll come back with Cece and Bella later and we'll do the
And people kind of there were people feeling sorry for him as if he was like bullied or belittled because things like this. But come on, I mean, he's very, very introverted, and I don't think it's easy to live with a person who doesn't express their emotions and talks. It's so much easier to be with people that express themselves and talk, I think, anyway. So I don't understand how they can conclude anything negative about her.
Here we go, Steelers chants. Because they want it. They go Steelers.
She does tell the kids a lot what to do and says they love it, but I think she's that kind of a person. She's very involved. She tells the kids what to do. You know, she's taking control, which is very positive as a parent that she does take control, and that's I think I can't say anything bad about her parenting style, except I don't know how it is later on, but I think it's good that when children are very young, that the parent leads them, gets them to do activities. Although I can't imagine myself dressing my children and telling them to cheer a group, but it did it as a family because she wanted to involve the husband, and it's something they could all get involved with. So again, I can see a positive, loving mother.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Very friendly, very, very, very friendly woman. And now this is the tragedy. This is the last time anybody ever saw her. The last time she was seen alive on this video camera. And this is August 13th. She's pregnant, 4 months pregnant. She's coming back from a business trip. Summer in Colorado. And here are I thought it was an amazing documentary how you could see everybody's you could see the horror. Like her friend Nicole calls, Timmy's calls, just wanted to know if you're okay. The fact that people could call her, and that was very calculated by him. Let me know what a caring friend. Let me know how your appointment goes. I mean, the friend, if you see a friend like that, I'm very worried about you. I'm coming to your house. It shows she had good friends. She was a good person. A negative person doesn't have friends like these.
When I'm calling because I'm concerned about a friend of mine. I dropped her off at her house at 2 in the morning last night, and I haven't been able to get a friend for this morning. And I've gone to her house, and her car's there, but she won't answer the door. She won't answer phone calls. She won't answer text messages. They have 2 little girls, 3 and 4. I mean, there's no movement in the house whatsoever. What's your name? ShanAnn Waats. Alrighty, we will have an officer come out that way as soon as we can.
For me and for other people, it's really hard that her name is ShanAnn Waats because, as we know, uh, her husband is responsible for her murder. I mean, he murdered her, and to have that as her name is really hard. Like, I really wish she could have been called by her maiden name. So, yeah, it's part of losing your identity. She's trying to be this good wife and mother, and
They do, to not try to make entry into the house or anything like that.
How you doing? Hey, Nicole?
Yes.
What's going on?
Go.
very odd that there's so many Nicoles. The mistress is called Nicole, her best friend is called Nicole, and the unborn baby who was murdered also because of the result of her being murdered is also called Nico. It's really hard to understand how somebody could murder an unborn child also, it's like very, very difficult to understand.
We were out of town for a business trip this weekend,
Right.
and I dropped her off at 2 o'clock this morning. She was ready to start over the weekend, wasn't eating normally or drinking, and we kept trying to force it on her.
Poor woman, she wasn't feeling well. She comes home,
Are you home?
and that home is, look at this home. It's just so beautiful.
We had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9, and she went for the doctor's appointment.
Okay. No answer on the phone. Husband's on his way.
Yes.
A huge house. I also wonder, the houses in the US are so huge. How many rooms does a family with 2 kids need? I grew up in such a small apartment, and we weren't poor or anything, but it's
Yep.
crazy.
I'm gonna have more unless I
And she kept that home spotless.
get for him to go in.
Just looking at the rooms, he didn't do it. Look at the rooms, the children room,
Pick them up, a lot of things.
and you'll see how much love this woman put into her,
How you doing? See your
her
neighbors
children.
today? No? Okay.
because there were so many speculations that perhaps she harmed the children, and it's ridiculous if you look how much love she invested, time and love, in the rooms, and just the way she was so focused on being a mother. It's unbelievable how he also wanted to murder her reputation.
Well, I can't go in, but well, you go in, I have to have the property owner's permission.
I have to say that I was very impressed with the investigation, the way the police took it seriously from the first minute. From the first minute, they took it very seriously. They came to investigate and they did a very good job. Sadly, I'm wondering if it has to do with the fact that there are quite a few famous murders in Colorado. Right after that, there was a beautiful woman who disappeared. The child was spared this time, and the suspect is her ex-boyfriend. Never found the body also.
We know who that is.
Also Colorado, not too far from there. So if you have a good police team, you wonder, is it because there are so many murders?
Police department, if anyone's inside, make yourself known.
So from the first minute, they didn't say wait 24 hours. They immediately the police went in there. And that you can, the police, yes, but also Nicole was very persistent and very, very stubborn. And she was like, you have to go in and investigate, you know. She presented it in a way. There he is.
This is the only vehicle she would have. She would drive. Okay.
And he's like, you can see the way, like, this is her best friend, and you look how he doesn't even say hello to her best friend.
Mind if I come in, Chris?
So they have to have permission from him. They didn't even get any court things for
Check it
this.
out. Look at that. You checked upstairs. She's not there. I just want to make sure she's not passed out somewhere. Is she diabetic?
So they're checking every lead. This time he still has chances.
Her parents are out of state.
So they're doing a very thorough investigation. I can't even imagine a police force doing that. It has to do a lot with Nicole, her friend, presenting it. It is very urgent because she realized she had a good intuitive feeling. Look at the room. Look at the girl's room. You see what I was telling you before? Beautiful rooms. With the names, like, look at this. Celeste,
So we
Bella.
take for a quick trip.
Beautiful rooms. A lot of love went into this house, and it's not from him. It's all her. ShanAnn decorated this house. Can't imagine that he did it.
Does she work?
So that's part of the problem, I think. She made a home for all of them. And what did he do? She brought the money, by the way. She said that she bought the house. She owned her own home. I don't think he did. He did. I don't think he brought in any money. And she didn't come for money. She worked very hard. And that's the problem, I think. She was like, oh, please let me know where they are. So he's texting her, even though he knows he murdered her. Look, at 1 o'clock, can you please call me? I'm on my way home. Please be there. He writes a dead woman's phone. Please be there. You have to be really big psycho to text your dead wife's phone in order to try to get away with the murder. Where are you? He calls. 1:30. I know people like this. They can just pretend. He is like the big fako. And meanwhile, look at her. Beautiful woman.
I just want you guys
Inside
to
and
look
out.
on my story. I was in a place for a long time where I felt very insecure. I was married, went through a really awful divorce, and that relationship really took a lot from me. It took my confidence. It took everything.
She was like a people pleaser. She was always a giver, always a people pleaser, always trying to be a good person, and she was insecure. This is very, very dangerous when you're an insecure person in relationships, because the blood attracts the sharks.
Literally took everything. But I'm not a quitter, and my goal was to buy a house. My family doesn't come from money. We always worked hard for what we had. And so I worked and worked and worked and worked. And I was 25 years old when I built my first house.
Wow,
And
it's impressive.
that was the big,
Huge house she bought, she built. I mean, the fact that she did this shows she's very responsible, very motivated, very goal oriented. She had a dream and she made it come true.
accomplishment I felt I've ever done because I did it by myself. I did
Exactly.
it by working my tail off.
Contrary, I don't know what money Chris Watts brought into the marriage. That's what I'm wondering. If that's not part of the problem, that she handed it everything on a silver platter. Beautiful girl,
10 years ago,
bought
I
a
went from
house.
being super energetic, super happy. I started losing a lot of my hair. I felt like I had the flu all the time. I felt miserable. And then I was diagnosed with lupus, which is an autoimmune disease. I went through one of the darkest times of my life. And then I met Chris. And I couldn't
It's not a coincidence. And listen to what you
ask
say.
God for a better man.
Couldn't a better
You
man.
didn't ever black out or have seizures or anything like that.
I couldn't have asked for a better man. That's what she thought. So she's a dreamer. It's like the girls, at one point, her daughter says when she grows up she wants to be Elsa. She herself lives in like a fairy tale. Fairy tales. Look at it. There's the person and there's the ideal, and there was a big gap between the person and the ideal. She thought he was a prince. So he thought he had a great deal. A woman with a house. She's ill. The shark in him was attracted to that, obviously. When you're vulnerable, be careful who you attract. I'm not talking about people you had before, but if people are attracted to you when you're ill, that should be a huge red light. People that are attracted by insecurity. She was just unaware of what he was plotting. In my opinion, he had it from day one. He was thinking he could manipulate her. Because this whole behavior is very calculating, like a chess game. And he could have gotten away had she not have had such a wonderful best friend and circle of friends and family who cared about her. I mean, the family's far away. He could have gotten away with it because, the family doesn't know what's going on. He could have gotten away with it. Had it not been for her best friend.
I said, what the heck? I'll never meet him. He's just a Facebook friend. I have a million of them. But the thing about Facebook is you eventually find a new person. When I met Chris,
The kiss looks, I don't know, something about that kiss is very... You don't bring somebody to a colonoscopy.
And he stuck around because
he stuck around. He was the one for me. He stuck around because he was manipulative and he saw a beautiful, vulnerable woman and he was a beast. He wasn't the beautiful man. And she thought, she didn't see the beast. She saw a prince. Something. And they're good people. They're good people and they see the good in everybody.
I just want to say I love you both. You've been great together. She's been looking her whole life for a good guy. I couldn't ask for a better one.
What a beautiful... Frank Jr. is one of the nicest people ever, and I'm really sad that he's suffering from people harassing him on YouTube and on the social media, and I really wish for him to be able to disconnect and build a life for himself, because he's such a sweet person. The whole family is just incredibly nice. That's why they see the good in others, and they didn't think to suspect. They're just kind-hearted people who don't suspect, and they give the benefit of the doubt, and they didn't see it coming.
Love you guys.
Nobody could see it coming. But when you look at him and his face, he's not a nice-looking guy.
We have 2 kids. We live in Colorado.
Beautiful children.
He's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
That is really the best thing that ever happened to me. No woman should ever say that. I understand. I've been there. I've had relationships and I thought that was the best thing that ever happened to me, but that's not a good thing to say because you should be the best thing that ever happened to you. Your goals, your happiness. Another person shouldn't be like the best thing that ever happened to you. I think she put him on a pedestal, and that's also a problem because he didn't deserve a pedestal. He was a creep. What he deserved is to be very to be very suspectful of him. I think if she had known him maybe in a different time when she wasn't feeling low, or you know, if she had suspected him more, maybe things would have been different. She could have realized who he was. But because he's so introverted and doesn't say a lot, it's very hard to figure him out. He could be anything. Look at those kids. And I mean, you could say, oh, he's changed, but a man who does what he did to these children never loved them. He's not capable of love. A person who could do such a thing to a child, I mean, even to harm them in any way, not to mention take their lives, is not capable of love. And if you get to meet his family, you can understand that the apple doesn't fall away from the tree. If you got to know his mother, especially, you could see that the apple didn't fall far from the tree. I mean, she treated ShanAnn in such a despicable way, not even banning their wedding. Oh, but like this documentary doesn't speak about it, but that's the key to understanding where he came from. You know, show me the parents, and that tells you a lot about a person. I can tell you. The mother-in-law is a nightmare. Thank God the neighbors has these cameras going on. It's weird. Americans are obsessed with security. I really can't imagine living in a place where I have to have security cameras every time. And he never loaded his truck, so this is suspicious. He seems so relaxed. He seems like he's on vacation. Doesn't seem like a husband whose toddler with kids are missing.
The rest of the day.
15 weeks. She's not pregnant anymore because you murdered her, you asshole. Sorry, I had to. This is how. So she has a t-shirt. Oops, she always had these nice ideas. She's such a sweet girl. But sweet people sometimes, very often, attract nasty people.
I like that shirt. Really? That's awesome.
I mean, what did he contribute to the marriage? What did he bring into the marriage? A salary. She made more money than him, I think. Plus, she had a house that she sold, and with that money, they bought this house. So, what did he actually bring into this marriage? His face is just, ew. He's just not good looking. There's nothing nice about his face. Look at, he's just his whole facial expression is like there's a discrepancy between what he says and the face is just bleh. The girls are so beautiful. Take after their mother.
There's a baby in mommy's belly. It's in mommy's belly, you silly. She's in my belly. Boy, Chris wants a boy. I hope it's a boy for him. It'll make him happy.
So she's always with the people pleaser.
We go for our first ultrasound.
I want a boy.
3:15. And I'm kind of nervous.
She films everything. The fact that she films even the most intimate moments, and I don't think it's just for her family. I think she just really feels isolated, and this is a form of contacting the world. She has this,
Hey, Belle, how many?
and the reason she feels isolated is that she's in a marriage alone. If she had a husband, if she had a husband who cared about her, she wouldn't have to film obsessively every moment and post to strangers.
My belly.
That's what my feeling is. Unless she maybe enjoys also.
I can't.
I would say she enjoys sharing with other people, but I also sense loneliness because of also her history of insecurity. She's not a very secure person, and she's reaching out to
Guys, how
people.
much I am blessed.
If she was
Well, I
really,
couldn't have kids. That's easy.
wow,
It's easy.
he's just so ugly. Look at his
I
features.
have my two beautiful girls, little bitty monsters, as I call them.
Well, people said, oh, monsters. Why does she call her kids monsters? But it's a sense of humor. She's clearly a loving mother.
Doesn't stop, literally. Bella's just now getting old enough to know what she's wanting in life. She wants to be Elsa when she grows up.
You can see all these family scenes, but what is he doing? Playing. He's just playing a role. He's like an empty shell. Because if he really loved those children, there's no way he would harm them in any way. You don't harm somebody you love. He's just not capable of love. The neighbor picks up on the fidgeting. Well, I mean, when my dog ran away, like 5 minutes after the dog ran away, I was like hysterical, crying, and he's like calm.
Yeah, but I mean, put yourself in his situation. You know, you'll be nervous. You don't know what to do.
So the police, everybody's giving the benefit of the doubt.
And it's really hard. I mean, I've exhausted every option I know of as far as friends goes. Like, Nikki knew more of them because she's a woman. And that's as far as we could go, as far as all the friends that we could think of.
On my card or anything? I'll take it.